2.
What's up, everybody? FightHype Live, holding it down again for another live round by round. This time is Josh Taylor defending the undisputed super lightweight titles of the world in his hometown of Glasgow, Scotland, here on ESPN against mandatory challenger Jack Catterall, southpaw, a guy that is trying to play spoiler tonight, a little bit of a tricky southpaw, a guy with only 50% knockout percentage, but looks like he has some heaviness in that left hand. But he's expected to get walked over tonight by the undisputed champion, Josh Taylor. So, we're just holding it down here on FightHype, waiting for these ring walks to go live. Looks like any moment now that's going to go down. But ESPN just switched up from Mark Kriegel, Andre Ward, and Tim Bradley in the studio to now it's time to get ready to see this fight. From Jack Catterall, I watched his fight with O'Hara Davies, and just I didn't see a whole lot there that should give Josh Taylor a big scare tonight. Taylor's already fought all the best guys in the division that are there. The only top 140 pounders he hasn't fought are guys on the come up, like a Gary Antoine Russell fighting Victor Postal tonight, or Brandon Lee. But those are young fighters who haven't gotten to that stage yet. So he's already fought the best of the best and cleared out this division. But Jack Catterall gets his shot. We just don't know if this is going to be the last fight for Josh Taylor at 140 pounds, if he plans on moving up and going after that Terrence Crawford fight. He says he can still make 140 pounds going into this fight. Says he's focused on Jack Catterall. He told us on FightHype he doesn't give a fuck about Terrence Crawford, but he did tell Mark Kriegel in the ESPN pre-fight here that the next fight he does want is Terrence Crawford. So you heard it from him, and that'd be a really good fight. At first, I counted Josh Taylor out of that fight until realizing he really is a big 140-pounder, a tall guy who could put that 7 pounds on at welterweight just fine. And then you remember Terrence Crawford was a lightweight. He started at lightweight. He technically started 5 pounds lighter than Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor is a little taller. So I realized if Crawford were to beat Josh Taylor, it's really just a matter of skills and who's the better fighter. It wouldn't have anything to do with Taylor being 140 and moving up. So that is a good fight, and it's a good fight, especially when you realize that Spence Crawford may still not be realistic because of the politics, and now the word that Crawford may be with MTK, and PBC doesn't apparently love MTK, so that fight might not actually be any closer, Spence Crawford, despite Crawford leaving Bob Arum. So if we can't get that fight, Josh Taylor, Terrence Crawford's a hell of a fight, We'll see if that's what we get next. But first, Josh Taylor has to get past this man coming to the ring right now, Jack Catterall, 26-0, 13 knockouts. Really watching that O'Hara Davies fight, I felt like he stayed on the outside too much. And if he does that with Josh Taylor, it's going to get him nowhere fast. At 5'7", the shorter man with the shorter arms than Josh Taylor, not the kind of hand speed Josh Taylor has. I don't know how Catterall could bank too many rounds on the outside against Taylor. I think if he stays on the outside, he's going to really just be searching for one shot, his big left hand. And Josh Taylor said in the lead up to this fight, that's what he expects from Catterall, to try to really just load up and land one big shot, his big left hand. But if he stays on the outside, I don't see him outboxing the longer, taller, faster Josh Taylor. And if he decides to take some chances, Josh Taylor walked Jose Ramirez into a beautiful straight left hand. He knows how to walk guys into power shots. So, no disrespect to Jack Catterall, but Josh Taylor's going to have to beat himself tonight if he's going to not walk out with those titles. As long as he's the same guy that showed up against Prograis and Ramirez, he should be walking out the hometown champ tonight. And here comes the champion now in his hometown. Let's see what you guys got in the chat. What channel is Taylor fighting on? Sky Sports, I believe, back home where he's fighting, and here in the United States, ESPN Plus. Sports Talk, what's up? Catterall by upset. Why anybody who thinks Catterall does win tonight by upset, how do you see it? I think he would need Taylor to have taken him lightly and be a little, distracted being at home and all those kinds of things. Kind of like we saw Teofimo Lopez with George Kambosos. But Kambosos wound up having to do a lot with that equation. His speed and his skills as a fighter wound up being superior to what people like me and a lot of us that counted him out doing. So even if Taylor's off, I don't know if Jack Catterall is the level of a George Kambosos. And Taylor hasn't shown the multiple signs heading into his first title defense, that undisputed title defense that Lopez did. Taylor already has his sights set on 47 and his next goal, instead of still coming down from this huge high and this huge hangover of what he's already accomplished. He seems to have already began to put his next foot forward towards his next goal instead of obsessing over what he accomplished last May. So I mean, he certainly told me he's not going to have a letdown. I mean, he snapped on us for trying to bring up future fights and all of that. So he said all the right things that said he took Jack Catterall 100%, and we'll see if that's the case in the ring right now. I suspect it is. But here comes the undisputed super lightweight champion, adorned in his Scotsman checkered colors. The Tartan Tornado. Last 4 opponents, I believe, or so, or 5 opponents, have a combined record of 180 wins with only 1 loss. He beat the undefeated Ivan Baranchik at the time to become IBF world champion. He unified against the undefeated Regis Prograis, and then he became undisputed against the undefeated Jose Ramirez. He beat 3 undefeated champions to become undisputed champion. Josh Taylor is a bad boy. And I remember seeing him 0-0 before his pro debut, getting ready for his debut in Sean Porter's gym when Sean Porter was preparing for Keith Thurman in 2016. And I remember thinking, this guy's a really tall 140-pounder, but I never would have thought that this humble, skinny Scottish kid would have became one of boxing's 6 or 7 only undisputed champions in the 4-belt era. So Catterall looks strong here in this corner. He looks solid, sturdy, little more muscularly thick than Taylor, who we know is a slender, kind of skinny guy. But Catterall looks solid, strong, a solid 140. Taylor shadow boxing in there already. Shadow boxing with some combinations with Ben Davison in front of him. But when I met Josh Taylor as an amateur, was just getting ready to go pro, he was a very quiet, focused young man, and already had that edge to him, but definitely was humble. Definitely in contrast with, the flamboyant Teofimo Lopez was in Sean Porter's gym around the same time, getting ready for his professional debut on the undercard of Pacquiao and Jesse Vargas. And both of those guys were 0-0 in Sean Porter's gym. One would go on to become the lightweight champ, the other the super lightweight champ. And now that I think about it, just 2 totally different approaches. Taylor, you couldn't tell if this was just another British United Kingdom top amateur kid who was just in Vegas trying to get some work. He didn't carry himself as the next blue chip, next big something. Lopez and his father, on the other hand, would tell anybody, the guy just sweeping the floor, this kid's going to be the next superstar. They're going to make a movie about this kid one day. He's going to be the biggest thing in boxing. So 2 totally different approaches. But I remember both Lopez and Josh Taylor when they were 0-0 at Sean Porter's gym. And yeah, man, there's more than one way to skin a cat is what those guys have shown. That's Jack Catterall's family ringside. And now we get ready for Josh Taylor to get introduced center ring. We'll see if they pan over to his wife, his pops. Number 7 in ESPN.com's pound for pound rankings. Josh is in his prime at 31 years old, right in his prime. This is the peak of his powers right now at this moment. And Josh Taylor right there with Ben Davison in his corner. Ben Davison also helps train WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney. I always wonder what sparring between the two of them looks like, if they've ever done it. I imagine they've had to have worked with each other at some point in Las Vegas. But Taylor's cut up, ripped, got a six-pack as always. You wonder if what his body would look any little different, a little more filled out at 147, or if he's just like Tommy Hearns was that way, where you moved up in weight, still is skinny, same kind of skinny frame. But all right, we're getting ready now for this opening bell. Round one, Taylor Catterall. Thanks for joining in right here on FightHype Live. Both southpaws. Ding, ding. Here we go. Round one. Both guys starting with the lead hand, just touching with it. Taylor throws out the first jab. Both guys staying at long range to start in the center of the ring, touching with their lead hands. Both guys are southpaws. Catterall starts with his jab to the body now. His first punch of the night. Oh, straight left hand by Catterall over the right hand of Josh Taylor. Catterall with the first big shot of the night. A straight left hand caught Taylor by surprise, and then a nice little jab to the body by Jack Catterall right after that. First big shot of the night is Jack Catterall with that left hand that Josh Taylor was worried about before the fight. Now Taylor looking like he's taking a step forward now. Shoots a nice jab to the body, does Taylor, and the two clinch. Almost a minute into this first round now. That was a really nice straight left hand by Catterall over the right hand of Josh Taylor. Catterall almost backing off now, like, oh shit, I may have gotten him a little mad. Taylor just off with a right hook. Just off with that right hook there. Backing Catterall off now. Taylor gets him to the ropes. Hard left hand to the body by Josh Taylor. Good left hand to the body. Catterall now comes back with a 1-2 and clinches. But Taylor got Catterall to the ropes there and able to land a nice left hand to the body to get himself going. Nice jab there by Catterall. Second one blocked, but he got the first one in. Jab to the body by Catterall. Just misses with an over-the-top straight left hand. Taylor trying to cut the distance, feigning. Trying to step in. Nice jab through the guard by Jack Catterall. He's having a very solid first 2 minutes of this round. So far, he is winning round one. Is the underdog, Jack Catterall. Taylor staying on top of him. Catterall with that left hand cocked. Trying to catch Taylor coming in. Taylor touching with the lead hand. Trying to blind the vision. Catterall shoots a left hand. Taylor sees it coming. Gets out of the way. And now they're in a clinch. Taylor working in the clinch. Catterall complaining to the ref, getting hit on the side of the head by the left hand in the clinch by Josh Taylor. Catterall's got to get rough back in there with the champ. He's not going to get any favors from a hometown referee. Some good work by Josh Taylor there in that clinch. Taylor now backing up Jack Catterall with a double jab. You don't want to give away a round like this if you're Jack Catterall. After landing that big left hand, you don't know if the judges are going to give it to you backing up like this down the stretch of the first. Taylor still on top of him. Taylor the aggressor to finish out these last 10 seconds. And Catterall does look a little uncomfortable. And that's it for round one. I got to give the first round to Jack Catterall off the strength of that straight left hand in the first 30 seconds ago. Definitely the cleanest shot of the night, of the round to start this fight. Straight left hand landed in the first minute. Got Josh Taylor's by surprise a little bit there. There's a replay. Perfect shot. Taylor able to put the pressure on a little bit after that and did get in a good left hand to the body. And then about 40 seconds left in the round, banged away with his free hand in the clinch. But as you guys know, banging away with a free hand in the clinch doesn't score the way a center of the ring, perfectly thrown left hand that lands on the button scores. So you got to score that round for Jack Catterall. But already, actually, after he landed that shot, he kind of looked like, oh shit, I may have pissed him off. And Taylor already began to put the pressure on, but it's 10-9 Jack Catterall after one. Best fight hype. Thank you. All right, guys. Round 2 now. Referee, make him okay. Here we go. Box round 2. Don't know if Catterall backing up down the stretch of that first round will win that round in Scotland, but punch stats favored him. He landed the cleanest round of the round, so he should be up 10-9. Taylor, despite being the taller guy and the longer arms, is actually, a little bit struggling early on to cut the distance the way he wants to. He doesn't want to walk into that accurate straight left hand of Jack Catterall while cutting the distance. And he gets inside, roughs a little bit. Some left hands for Taylor land there, but Taylor now getting warned for those left hands on the inside of the back of the head. 45 seconds into it. Nice double jab by Jack Catterall in the center of the ring. Taylor back with his double jab. Left uppercut for Josh Taylor. Catterall trying to turn his head around like this to the side to get away from shots, but it's not good, and he got hit with a left uppercut there as he did it. Taylor on the front foot. Good jab by Taylor. Good jab right back by Catterall fighting off the back foot. Catterall with a 1-2. Good double jab by Catterall through the guard of Josh Taylor in the center of the ring. Taylor now coming back, misses a left hand. Taylor throws gets hit with a left hand after missing the left hand on the shoulder of Catterall. Catterall actually shoulder rolling that a little bit. And Catterall, a minute and a half into the second with a little bit of an advantage and clean punches landed. And he's also out jabbing Taylor. Taylor almost caught with a left hand as he's trying to cut the distance in. Catterall with a good sense of distance in there right now. Good jab by Taylor. Taylor having to be a little cautious as he's putting the pressure on. Getting his head off the line now, trying to make sure he doesn't keep his head on the line for that straight left hand, but he is forced to give up his height here as he's trying to make this an inside fight and more of a fight. Catterall not doing much offensively here as Taylor is putting pressure on, shooting some shots to the body. Good little combination by Taylor, nothing too clean. Good right hook to the body by Josh Taylor. A left hand to the body returned by Jack Catterall. Good jab by Josh Taylor. Body language not good here for Jack Catterall. Retreating a little bit too much. Letting Taylor just stay on the front foot and be more active than him. That's a way you're not going to get rounds in another guy's hometown. Referee breaks them apart. Tells Taylor to stop pushing Catterall's head underneath and for Catterall to stop ducking his head down that way. 1-2 by Jack Catterall. Lands clean. That left hand was clean. Taylor coming back with combinations, but good defense by Jack Catterall. Actually doing a decent shoulder roll himself. 2-zip Jack Catterall. The cleaner, better shots, especially that left hand for Jack Catterall, are winning him the fight right now. Coming into this fight, I didn't think this guy was going to be doing this against Josh Taylor, but I got him up 2018. Taylor in between the 1 or 2 clean shots by Jack Catterall is fighting on the front foot. He's pawing with his lead hand. He's getting in. He's letting his hands go, but he's not being as effective as Jack Catterall early on. Clean punches is what should win a fight, and so far the clean punches are being landed by the challenger, Jack Catterall. But in another guy's hometown, fighting off the back foot, letting him go 30, 40, 50 seconds a time, letting his hands go while you're setting up, that could give them the BS they need to give the guy a round. But here's the replays. Perfect 1-2 by Jack Catterall. Or really, the 1 was there to set up the 2. Touch Taylor with the 1, the jab, and then boom, a straight left hand. He's hit him with that a couple times. Here we are in round 3 now. And so far, a little bit of an upset brewing. And Jack Catterall showing a good defense early on, keeping that chin tucked behind his right shoulder. Taylor now in a clinch. And we're 20 seconds into the third. Taylor on the front foot. Catterall back near the ropes. Shoulder rolling like he's Floyd Mayweather here, but he gets hit with a left uppercut as he actually grinned on the ropes trying to shoulder like Floyd. Good left hands to the body by Taylor in that clinch. Taylor having a decent first minute here as Catterall looks to to time him and counter him coming in. Good double jab by Taylor. Catterall off the back foot, shoots his own jab, steps in, steps back out. Catterall with the jab, but he's really anchoring that backhand. He's just using that jab to set up and time that big left hand. He's not throwing a big power jab, an authoritative jab. And Taylor, meanwhile, is trying to blind with his jab, more pawing with it. And now the ref, again, warning both guys, breaking them apart. Just some roughhouse stuff on the inside. Back in the center of the ring. Jab to the body by Catterall. Good left hand in the clinch by Taylor. Taylor's gotten some of his best punches in with his left hand in the clinch when Catterall tries to turn his head to get away from shots. Taylor slipping some shots on the front foot, getting a little more flexible here in round 3. Short with the jab. Can't find Catterall with the jab just yet. 1-2 by Catterall. Left hand lands a little bit there. Taylor just a little off with the left uppercut. Slips a couple jabs by Catterall, trying to stay on top of him. Really giving up his height is Taylor. Trying to get on the left uppercut by Jack Catterall. And I even saw a little something in Taylor's legs there. Great poker face by Taylor, but that was a good little right hook in the clinch, though, now by Josh Taylor. And Jack Catterall feels another right hook. Catterall with a 1-2 after eating 2 right hooks. Good left hand by Jack Catterall. Another good 1-2 by Jack Catterall. A good left hand. Long, straight left hand by Catterall, and that keeps Taylor at bay. Taylor landed a couple right hooks. Looked like he may have started getting something going, but Catterall with a couple of nasty 1-2s. Again, the jab really just there to boom, set up the straight left. He's not throwing the jab with everything on it, but he's touching, he's throwing it out there and putting the left hand behind it, and he did that beautifully there. Catterall looks like he might be on his way to a 3-zip lead. 15 seconds left now in the third. Taylor looking a little frustrated with his distance, giving up his height, stepping in, blood coming from the nose of Jack Catterall. Good work by Catterall to finish up. I gotta give all 3 rounds to Catterall so far. Let me know what you think in the chat. But that left hand is the best shot of the fight so far. Taylor able to get in some work on the inside, but just as Taylor landed 2 right hooks in the last minute, Catterall came back with 2 hard 1-2s that were even more eye-catching than the right hooks by Taylor. A close round. Taylor getting the better of it in the clinches and the rough housing, but the clean stuff on the outside when they're boxing is being landed by Jack Catterall. I got this 30-27 Jack Catterall right now. Let's see what you guys say in the chat. Haney needs to move up and stop fighting T-Rex arms. And boy, he needs to move up. Taylor's round easy. I didn't think so, man. And the replays are backing me up on that. Jack Catterall's family is starting to stand in the ringside and feel excited. Their boy might be up 3-0, if not 2-1. Taylor just off with his uppercut. His left uppercut is getting close to landing a number of times, though. But no straight left hand for Josh Taylor. He was able to land that shot against Jose Ramirez, but not as comfortable throwing that straight left hand on the front foot. More comfortable when a guy's coming to him and walking him into it, it would seem. But Taylor putting the pressure on, and good left hand to the body by Josh Taylor, 30 seconds into the second. Taylor, if nothing else, if he can't outbox this guy, he's just gonna try and thug it out. Good right hook by Taylor. Jumped in with that right hook. Gets out of the way of a left hand. Catterall with 2 shots to the body, but Taylor smothering him inside there. The ref, again, breaking these 2 apart. Telling them cut off the roughhousing bullshit. Catterall starting to breathe a little heavy as the ref is talking to them now. Taylor looks fine conditioning-wise. Let's see if Taylor begins to turn this thing around this round. What I could see him doing is just simply start to turn up the punch numbers, and see if this guy who hasn't been in these kind of fights can keep up with the pace. Catterall short with a left uppercut. Maybe Taylor trying to counter his count. Good right hook to the body by Josh Taylor, now in a clinch. Taylor winning this round so far. Minute and a half into the fourth. Taylor. Left uppercut for Taylor misses, but good activity and he gets out of the way of the 1-2. Gets in the clinch, almost nailed Jack Catterall with a left hand in the clinch there, as Catterall, sometimes not alert defensively in the clinch, just turns his head away. Oh, good. 1-2, and then a right hook to the body by Jack Catterall. That was a strong right hook to the body by Jack Catterall. This guy can punch harder than a 50% KO percentage would say, it looks like. He got some thump in his shots for sure. Taylor tries to throw a straight left there. Catterall rolls it on the shoulder. But Catterall getting that outworked this round. Taylor off with a straight left. Catterall able to use that shoulder roll, get away from it. Good body shot by Catterall. Catterall throws a looping left hand to make Taylor pick his hands up, and then he bangs away to the body as Taylor forced to throw his hands up to block the headshot. Good body shot by Jack Catterall. A couple of good body shots in the last minute of the fourth. Last 5 seconds here. So for round 4, I actually felt the best shots of that round were the body shots by Jack Catterall down the stretch in the last minute or so. Catterall landed some really good body shots on Josh Taylor. I thought those were the best punches of the round. But fighting off the back foot, he got out-hustled. He got backed up. Defensively, not always alert in these clinches. Taylor gets that round. 39-37, Josh Taylor. I give him the fourth. And Catterall breathing heavy, got a little blood coming from his nose in the corner. He is breathing heavier than Josh Taylor. And I did give Taylor his first round there in the fourth. So 39-37. Let's see what they show on the replays here. And it's the body shot by Jack Catterall. Yep. Here you see Taylor have to pick his hands up. If you're watching the broadcast, bang, big left hand to the body by Jack Catterall there. And arguably you could score that round for Jack Catterall. This could be 40-36 on your card. I'll give Taylor the benefit of the doubt in his hometown. And Andre Ward has this fight 39-37. Taylor, I have it the other way around from the great Andre Ward. I got it the other way around. I got Catterall up based on clean, effective punching. But he could be getting out-hustled at times in this round. Good right hook to the body by Taylor after a good left hand to the body by Jack Catterall. And some roughhousing in the inside. They've been roughhousing all night. 30 seconds into the fifth. Taylor, the more active fighter. And for almost all of the night, he's been the guy on the front foot. And in a close one, judges tend to give you the benefit of the doubt with that. Nice jab by Catterall. Center of the ring. Both guys center of the ring. Now a clinch. Break back in the center of the ring. A minute into the fifth now. Both guys feinting. 1-2 by Catterall. Clean 1-2 by Catterall. Taylor waiting for him. The two were waiting on each other. Another 1-2 by Catterall. And it's starting to smell like upset city in here a little bit, folks, in round 5. After that 1-2, that was a telling 1-2. Both fighters testing each other's brains and timing there, staring at each other. And it was Catterall who got it. Big moment for the challenger there. Halfway through the fifth, he knocked Josh Taylor's head around with that 1-2. Taylor, after that 1-2, has blood coming from around the right cheekbone now. That was a good left hand by Jack Catterall. Taylor trying to turn it up, but for the first time I see in Taylor's body language some of the confidence coming out of the little air coming out of the balloon there after that sequence, but he's putting the pressure on. But he can't find the range. He doesn't look particularly sharp tonight, does Josh Taylor. Wipes a little blood from his eye now. Catterall winning this 5th round. Taylor needs to land something significant here. Even the round I gave him, he hasn't really landed anything clean on Jack Catterall. He's landed some shots up top, but nothing on the money, the way Catterall has been able to tag him a dozen or so times in this fight. Taylor, trying to raise his energy, be aggressive, but no clean work from the champion here. 10 seconds left. Catterall has this round. Good double jab by Catterall. Second jab knocked the head up of Josh Taylor. Upset brewing in Scotland. 49-46 Jack Catterall. Impressive defense using his version of the shoulder roll tonight. He's been tough to hit for Josh Taylor. Great timing. He's outsmarted the champion so far on the outside. Josh Taylor now bleeding right here around his right eye. And I'm telling you, there is now some concern with the champion. He had that poker face on first 4 rounds. I'm telling you, halfway through the 5th, they're showing a replay right there. A hard 1-2-1 right here again. 1-2 right on the button and that began to tell Taylor, okay, what's going on here? Because this is around the time, if you start to raise the pace on the inexperienced challenger, he'll start to fold, but that's not what started to happen in the 5th. Yeah, 4-1 Jack. I got it. Here we are, round 6, and we start. Catterall shoots an uppercut after Taylor misses with a straight left. Catterall's breathing better than it was in the 5th. Double jab, backs Taylor up onto the ropes. Taylor's back, very reddened. Sometimes a sign that the fatigue's coming in. He wipes blood from his eye. Taylor with Catterall in the corner, but Catterall slick in there, just hard to hit clean. Taylor bangs away with the left hand in the clinch. That's where he's had most of his best work is roughhousing in the clinch with a free hand. This is why they fight the fights. Taylor again with that free hand in the clinch, banging away. He's definitely got the better of it all night in that roughhousing stuff in the clinches. But when the two are boxing at a clean range, it's Catterall tonight. Minute into the 6th, Catterall hasn't done anything offensively. Shoots off that big 1-2, but Taylor gets out of the way of it. Taylor not able to get much done in the first minute, but he's active. He's busy, so he's ahead in this round. Taylor. Catterall near the ropes, the two fencing with each other with their lead hands. Taylor a little unsure of himself in his attack. Getting countered when he shoots the straight punches. His jab isn't finding the mark. And then when he gives up, in order to give up your height and shoot that uppercut, you have to be wary of walking into a shot. So good left hand to the body by Jack Catterall there. And now, just like in the Pro Grace fights, that right side of Josh Taylor is beginning to redden from those left hands from Jack Catterall to the body. Minute left in the 6th round. Best punch of the fight so far, of the round so far, was a left hand to the body by Catterall, but Taylor busier on the front foot, better in the clinches. Good 1-2 by Catterall. Taylor just can't get the damn distance right with this guy. He doesn't know if he doesn't have belief in his jab tonight. Catterall made him second guess his jab immediately with his left hand over the top of it. Taylor double jabbing, but with nothing really on those jabs. Just trying to blind vision, no authority behind it. Catterall able to land a nice little left hand and get out of there. 30 seconds left. Straight left hand by Jack Catterall. Shot the jab. Taylor able to get away from the jab, but not able to get from the left hand right behind it. And that may put Catterall ahead in the 6th with 10 seconds left. You just don't know if fighting off the back foot, another straight left hand. No, that's a nice cap to the 6th for Jack Catterall. Catterall unloads a couple of 1-2s to finish the 6th. And on my card, I give him the 6th round. He tagged Josh Taylor with a number of left hands down the stretch of the 6th round. Taylor more active, putting the pressure on, but Nothing clean. Here's the replay. Jab lands. Left hand lands. Perfect 1-2 by Jack Catterall. It ain't really much to debate, folks. Catterall's winning this fight. It's just, is he winning it in Scotland off the back foot against the hometown boy who is, to his credit, at least being active, being the aggressor? You know, I don't know. But I got this 59-55 Jack Catterall. His left hand has been money. Easily the best shot between the two of them. He nailed Josh Taylor 30 seconds into the fight with that left hand, and Taylor hasn't found an answer for it yet. And we're about to head into the second half of the fight. There's no way you could have this. I love Andre Ward, but I got to disagree with him there. There's no way Taylor's winning this fight right now. Dre now has this fight even. 57-57. We got a 59-55 Catterall. Maybe 58-56 in there. That probably is what the judges have it, is 58-56. It's hard to believe they would give the guy on the road 5 out of 6 to start a fight, but Catterall's going to have to win the second half of this fight. He hasn't done enough to start coasting here. Not close. Taylor in the inside, able to turn on an angle and shoot a left hand and land it. 40 seconds into the 7th now. Let's see if the champion can come on in the second half of the fight and keep those titles home. And let's see if Catterall does enough to really take the belts here. 1-2 by Catterall, misses. But Catterall's been very accurate tonight. Not active, but he's been a sharpshooter. Taylor slipping a couple jabs, getting out of the way of the jab, shoots his own jab, and then headlocks Catterall into a clinch after missing his jab. Halfway through the 7th, Catterall gets in his jab there. Taylor blocks 2 jabs from Catterall. Catterall off with a left hand to the body. Left uppercut for Taylor lands. Not on the money, but he got it in. 1-2 back by Catterall with Taylor's hands up, partially gets in. Catterall trying to jab Taylor off, lands a jab. Taylor keeping on the front foot, wipes the blood out of his eye. The blood in the eye bothering Taylor. Minute left in the 7th round. The kind of round Taylor's going to win when there isn't much to choose from. He's going to win that in Scotland. Catterall's going to need some of those left hands down the stretch of this round if he wants it. Taylor bangs away with a left hand to the body in the clinch. That's probably been his best consistent punch of the fight, is banging away with his free left hand when they're clinching. Catterall off with a 1-2. Taylor punches with the free hand in the clinch, hits him with a left. Taylor then with a nice right hook as Catterall left the clinch. Taylor leaning, roughhousing, leaning all over Catterall in the clinch, and the ref breaks him. Ref should have probably warned Taylor there. 1-2 off the mark from Catterall. Nice right hand in the belly of the stomach right there in the clinch for Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor just winning this round on activity and roughhousing on the inside. Scratched and sniffed his way out of this round. Catterall cannot allow rounds like that to happen. And Josh Taylor raises his hand as he goes back to the corner after the 7th. He knows he at least got that one in the bank. So 5 rounds to 2. Definitely just gave Taylor the last round. Still not able to really connect cleanly with shots, but out-hustled his man there and roughed him up on the inside a little bit. So we got this 68-65 Jack Catterall through 7 rounds. And I guess they're talking to Kell Brook ringside here. What's Kell saying? It sounds like Brook thinks that Taylor's now in the warrior mindset. You know, he's kind of had to abandon the boxing because he's gotten a little outboxed, and he's interested to see what happens here down the stretch. Definitely Taylor seems to have grasped. He's not, for whatever reason, on his best night. Could just be Catterall style. And he seems to know, he's just going to have to out hustle this guy and win this one ugly. Because tonight it's Catterall who has the tactics, who has the boxing advantage here stylistically so far through 7. He's got 5 rounds to go. He's going to have to keep landing some big left hands and not fade down the stretch. Roughhousing in the clinch. Hey guys, what is up? We are back on FightHype Live. Just had some technical difficulties, had a computer go out here, but we are back. Forgive me for the lighting, but 1 minute left in round 8 here. Jack Catterall lands a left hand just as I tune back into this broadcast. Catterall is ahead 5 rounds to 2 here on the FightHype unofficial scorecard. But at times he's letting Taylor be the busier guy. He's letting Taylor back him up. And in close rounds on the road, it's tough to win a fight that way, even when most people believe you are winning it. Taylor bleeding from that right eye still. And as we were resetting back up, it sounds like commentators don't feel like Taylor had a good right hook to the body by Josh Taylor as he slipped underneath a big left hand. That crowd in Scotland trying to will him on, but a 1-2 by Jack Catterall off the ropes. All right, we got to find a way to get out of this light, people. One moment, please. Josh Taylor with a much-needed 8th round there. And Ben Davison in the corner telling the crowd to come on and support their man. One moment here, folks, as we get some better lighting. All right. All right, folks. In between rounds here, heading into the 9th round. All right. Here's the replays from round 8. And it's still a down went Josh Taylor in the 8th round. That happened as we were calling. The knockdown happened, of course, as we went out, and I had to reset up. Straight left hand lands for Taylor, or for Jack Catterall. Right uppercut misses, and then another left hand. Down went Josh Taylor in the 8th round. It's all Jack Catterall right now. That has to put him up 6 rounds to 2, 78-73 on the unofficial FightHype card. Man, of course the knockdown happens right as we go out, but thanks for staying with us. Here we are now in round 9, and on my card, Taylor would need to win every round along with a knockdown to keep the titles in a draw. Taylor down in round 8, 30 seconds into the 9th. Big left hand lands for Jack Catterall. Taylor hasn't been able to get his head off the line and get out of the way of that left hand all night. Power punches last round, just 8 out of 29 for Jack Catterall. He hasn't been busy tonight, but he's been super accurate. And he has just outboxed Josh Taylor at a distance. Andre Ward, ESPN, has Taylor down 76-75. We got him down 78-73, but tries to rough up Jack Catterall along the ropes here. Minute left, or 1 minute into the 9th round. Taylor getting rough, giving a shoulder there in the clinch against Jack Catterall. Taylor has been beat from the outside tonight. He's been outboxed from the outside. And this does I'll say this right here in round 9, this does definitely make you say, okay, I got to put to bed any chance he has against Terrence Bud Crawford. If he's getting nailed by a southpaw like Jack Catterall and can't get out of the way of a left hand of Jack Catterall, what in the world would Terrence Crawford, with his speed, his superior speed, length, power, everything to Jack Catterall, what in the world would he be doing to Josh Taylor right now? The answer is, in all likelihood, stop him. Like he has the last 9 guys he's fought. So before the fight, I was beginning to warm up to Taylor Crawford. You know, tonight, he'd probably be getting stopped in there against Terrence Crawford. Good left hand to the body by Josh Taylor, though, and he is winning round 9 as Catterall Catterall in some of these rounds not active, and Catterall is bleeding. That's got to come from a headbutt, and the referee really allowing some hometown cooking here because he's letting Taylor do what he wants in these clinches. Straight left and then a left uppercut by Catterall, though. Just as I say that, two good left hands by Catterall. A couple of right hooks for Taylor on the inside, but not a lot of leverage on him. He's referee calls a break. What's he going to call here? Because really, how many warnings can this referee possibly give? He's given so many warnings. At some point, you make a decision here, and it's Taylor who's desperate and can't really do shit on the outside right now, who all his best work is coming in the rough housing on the inside. So there's really one guy he's got to correct here. Left hand at the bell by Jack Catterall, but he did get out hustled and backed up that round. That's probably a round for Josh Taylor. So 87-83 on the FightHype card. We got Taylor losing this fight 6-3 with the knockdown. Yeah, it was a headbutt that made Jack Catterall begin to bleed over his right eye. And really, folks, that was, for all intents and purposes, an intentional headbutt that the referee in Scotland has allowed to happen. Taylor has been rough on the inside all night. He's used his shoulders. He's hit on the side and on the back of the head. And there, he pretty much headbutted him. So, but if you're Jack Catterall, you got to overcome all that stuff on the road to win. Catterall has almost doubled Taylor in connected punches tonight, according to CompuBox. Round 10 now. And let's see if Taylor can maybe get inside and, explode with a combination here and hurt Catterall, maybe create something offensively. Good jab to the body by Taylor. Taylor backing Catterall off. Catterall along the ropes, forced to clinch. Catterall looking tired. The knockdown is huge for Catterall. He only needs to win 6 rounds tonight now to walk away with those titles, which means he may only need to win one of these last 3 championship rounds. 1-2, and Taylor ducks down to get away from it into the clinch. 2 minutes left in round 10. ESPN has this fight even 85-85 here at FightHype. We have Catterall up 87-83. Catterall shoots a straight left hand. Taylor able to block it, staying on top of him. Catterall misses, swings, hits air with a left hand. Taylor ducks underneath, gets into the clinch. And now the referee is going to take a fucking point away from Jack Catterall, and that's fucking bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That's what you call hometown refereeing. Josh Taylor has headbutted in the clinch. He's used his shoulder in the clinch. He's hit behind the head, although at times with Jack Catterall turning his head this way, so he gets what he gets there. But absolute nonsense for a point deduction. Catterall shoots a right, and that negates the knockdown of Jack Catterall, which is complete nonsense. This is how hometown decisions happen in boxing, is shit like this. But now the ref is bringing them up. How many times are you going to separate these two, referee, and take a point away from Josh Taylor at some point? No, look, now he's threatening to take another point away from Jack Catterall. Gee, it wouldn't be because we're in Scotland, would it? Anyways, they resume in round 10. 1 minute left. Catterall needs this round to keep it 9-9. Crowd getting loud, trying to will Taylor through this win. They can smell that the victory's back in the air now with this point deduction. Just an awful point deduction, man. Catterall tired. Probably not gonna, let's see, 40 seconds left. And he's actually landed the cleanest shot of the round so far. Good right uppercut by Jack Catterall. And a left hand by Jack Catterall. Catterall coming again, and Taylor felt that shot, felt that right uppercut a moment ago. But the body language in Taylor's favor, he's done it. That's something champions are good at. Great poker face. Always keeps his body language good. So, and then Catterall, even after he lands a big shot, sometimes will show that fatigue and take a step off to give the impression that he's the more tired guy in there. Good left uppercut by Taylor at the bell. Close 10th round. Taylor on the front foot, more aggressive, but Catterall landed a really good right uppercut out of the clinch, and then right after the point deduction, he shot off a good right uppercut in left hand. That was a close 10th round. I'm honestly still just a little disgusted by what we saw with that point deduction. Two rounds left, and this fight could very well be on the table with 2 rounds left. That was a close round. I could see this fight being 96-93 Catterall, I think, is the right card right now. But, or actually 95-93 because of the point deduction. Either 95-93 or 96-92 would be our card. So with 2 rounds left, Jack Catterall dropped Josh Taylor in round 8, but was a dubious point deduction in round 10. Good right uppercut by Jack Catterall out of the 11th round, and then a 1-2. Good start to this 10th. Oh, good jab by Jack Catterall. A strong 10-second start for Jack Catterall in round 11. Taylor staying on top of him, gets underneath the 1-2, slips it. Taylor staying on the front foot here. Taylor shoots a jab. Taylor staying on top. Catterall trying to circle away, and Taylor throws a sweeping left hand to the body. Decent shot, and now into the clinch. But Catterall had a strong 10-second start there, landed 3 or 4 good shots to start this round. Left hand up top for Catterall, just off. Taylor almost walked into that one. Almost a minute into the 11th. Catterall with a little advantage in the first minute off of the strength of landing a couple of clean shots to start the round in the first 10 seconds. Into another clinch. Lots of clinching tonight. Catterall, not with the best work rate, but he's been effective. He's been accurate. Good jab by Catterall as Taylor tried to get in a hook. Taylor just a little off with the straight left. He pinned Catterall in the corner, touched him with his lead hand to try to line up the straight left, and just still couldn't quite get it in there clean as Catterall got off the ropes. Now Taylor misses a left uppercut. Catterall clinching along the ropes. And these are these long offensive lulls for Catterall that could cost him this fight. He's gone about a minute now without doing any work offensively, allowing to be backed up into the corners, into the ropes, into clinches. And it's not clean work by Taylor. Left hand by Taylor to the body, and Catterall comes back with a left hand to the body right back. Both southpaws. Minute left in the 11th. On my card, I'm giving Catterall a slight edge on those clean shots that he started the first 10 seconds of the round with. Taylor has been staying on top of him, but not able to land anything effectively, really. Little left hand to the body there by Taylor there. And then the clinch into the corner. And sequences like that could wind up winning Taylor this fight. He stayed on top of him. He got him in a corner, landed one body shot, then they get in a clinch. That's not a sexy sequence, but it's a sequence that favors Taylor. 30 seconds left. I don't know if Catterall can win a round with this much offensive load. He shoots off the 1-2-1. Good jab by Catterall. 15 seconds left in the 11th, and Taylor tackles Catterall to the ground, and the ref's going to break them up, pick them up, and let's see who he... The referee wipes both guys off, and he's going to give them their 16th pep talk for the night. 10 seconds left in round 11. Good jab by Jack Catterall. Some decent jabs by Jack Catterall in the last 10 seconds. And that's it for the 11th. I score that round for Jack Catterall. The first 10 seconds, the two of them, a point deduction for Josh Taylor now. Okay, ref, I'm off your ass. The referee now deducts a point from Josh Taylor. The two of them talked some trash before they went back to their separate corners. Taylor apparently threw a little bit of a little backhand, get out of here. And the ref takes a point away from that. So now that point deduction that made up for Taylor just went out the window. So as far as scoring the 11th, I thought Catterall actually got off in the first 10 seconds or so with a couple of good shots. But then he has those minute lulls where he doesn't throw any punches and he allows Taylor to put the pressure on, let his hands go a little bit, roughhousing the clinch. And you wonder if he allows too much of that time to pass by in these rounds to let these judges go ahead and give the round to Taylor for his aggressiveness. Last round on my card, Jack Catterall has won this fight. I have this fight either 6-5 or 7-4. Jack Catterall, when you include the knockdown and both guys getting a point deduction, he has this fight won, irregardless of how I score this round. Did not expect to be calling the fight this way today. I picked Josh Taylor to win this fight. I didn't think Jack Catterall would have much for him. I thought he'd be a guy languishing on the outside against a taller, more explosive guy in Josh Taylor. He has languished on the outside, but he's won the fight on the outside with his left hand. Andre Ward has this fight scored for Josh Taylor, 104-102. I do think that Catterall has had big lulls of inactivity in spots of this fight, and that might be exactly what Ward sees, but I disagree with the great former pound-for-pound champ. I think Jack Catterall is the guy winning this fight tonight. The blood coming from Catterall's eye was from a headbutt. The blood coming from Taylor's eye, clean left hand from Catterall. Taylor's been down. Taylor's been the guy who's been hit with the cleaner shots. Minute and a half left. Josh Taylor, more of the same, just staying on the front foot, staying aggressive, roughhousing in the clinch, but nothing. No clean right hook, no clean straight left hand for Josh Taylor, no left uppercut, nothing clean tonight from the Tartan Tornado. He's been a tornado at times in the clinch, able to bang away with his free hand, but just the off scratch and stiff night for the undisputed super lightweight champion. Will he still be the undisputed super lightweight champion 5 minutes from now? 50 seconds left in the 12th. Catterall really hasn't done anything this round. Neither has Taylor in terms of landing clean shots, but his effort is greater. He's staying on the front foot. He's throwing more shots. Catterall not fighting like a challenger in the 12th round. Good left uppercut by Catterall, right as I say that, though. And then he fires a 1-2 right behind it. That was a good left uppercut by Jack Catterall. 20 seconds left in this one. Taylor falls into a clinch again. 15 seconds left. Left uppercut by Catterall. Taylor into a clinch. That's going to be it. I think that's it. They're not going to have any more exchanges. They're going to clinch into this bell. And that's it. That's it. Whether you scored this fight 6 rounds to 6 or 7 rounds to 5, Jack Catterall won this fight on my card. He dropped Josh Taylor in the 8th. From the outset, 30 seconds into the fight at long range, he zapped. He nailed Josh Taylor with a straight left hand on the outside. He landed that shot throughout much of the fight. Was the better man on the outside against Josh Taylor, made him give up his height. Taylor roughhousing on the inside, some success there, but never able to really land clean. I think Jack Catterall outboxed and beat Josh Taylor tonight in a big upset for Josh Taylor. But with a BS point deduction and with Catterall's offensive lulls, getting backed up, his body language wasn't always as composed as Josh Taylor. In Scotland, I don't know if he gets this decision. I do think the ref taking a point away from Taylor to even up the point deductions definitely was huge for Catterall. I think without that point deduction, Taylor would be sitting a lot prettier right now. And honestly, judging from the body language of both fighters, Catterall believes he's won more than Josh Taylor. Catterall immediately went on his shoulders on the trainer. His trainer picked him up. They were celebrating as if they knew they had won. Taylor went back to his corner with Ben Davison, knowing, let's see what happens in this verdict. That was a tough one. But Catterall, judging from the body language of both fighters, Catterall feels he's won this fight more than Taylor has. I know the great Andre Ward, ESPN, is going to have this fight scored for Taylor. Let's see what the judges have it. CompuBox shows 525 thrown punches, 306 for Taylor. My eyes must have deceived me. It felt as though Taylor was the more active guy and just that Catterall was more accurate. Catterall able to land 81 to 57 in the power punches. Outlanded Taylor 39 to 16 in jabs. He out-jabbed him. He landed the better power shots. Jack Catterall won this fight as far as I'm concerned. Let's see if he gets the decision. And his wifey is happy ringside. We will see if her husband is now super lightweight champion. And I can tell you the exact moment where Taylor began to have doubts about how this night was going to go. It was midway through the 5th round as both fighters were sizing each other up, were staring at each other for about 4 or 5, 6 seconds there. Each guy was trying to outthink each other. And boom, with the perfect timing came Catterall with a 1-2. He nailed Taylor. And from that moment on in the 5th, Taylor knew I could be walking out of this fight without my belts tonight. It's turning into that kind of night. He still showed a lot of champion composure, but really couldn't find the adjustments necessary. He didn't really find the adjustments. He just tried to turn it up and be more aggressive. But if this fight doesn't go Catterall's way, he does have to be honest with himself and say, I did have too many offensive lulls in another guy's hometown. You know, you can't go a minute 10 without letting your hands go, getting backed up in another guy's hometown and think they might give the round to the other guy, even though you are landing the cleaner shots. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Taylor, swollen, blood from that beneath that right eye. All right, here we go. 113, 112 Catterall. 114, 111 Taylor. And here we go with the split decision victory. 113, 112 for the winner. And still, undisputed super lightweight champion of the world, Josh Taylor. Well, if you listen to my call, you know my thoughts. I thought Catterall won this fight. However, having those big offensive lows, fighting off the back foot, allowing the body language to show you're more tired than the other guy at times, little things like that in the other guy's backyard are going to get him the benefit of the doubt. And that's what happened for Josh Taylor today. In his backyard, he gets the benefit of the doubt. He'll have to be a hell of a lot better than that. He would have probably got stopped by Terrence Crawford tonight. I don't know what's next for the champion. He's fortunate to get out of there. Still the undisputed super lightweight champ. I had this fight for Jack Catterall. Hope you guys enjoyed tuning in. We will be live right here from Las Vegas ringside tonight for Showtime's fight. Chris Colbert taking on Hector Luis Garcia. Gary Antoine Russell in the co-main event against Victor Postal. So I'll be locking it down live ringside tonight. Be sure to jump back in when we go live. But for now, that's it from Glasgow, Scotland. And still undisputed super lightweight champion, Josh Taylor. See you guys later tonight.